Hello and welcome to the first episode of You Can't Say That Right Now. It's lengthy. I know it's a working title, but before we start, I just want to talking about voices and as a project and over the 5 episodes what I'll be doing. Over 5 episodes I'll be talking about languages, dialects and my mother tongue as such, and I'm very excited to be working on it. I think it's really taking me outside of the box with my thinking, and it's going to be a ride. It's going to be a ride for me, and for anyone who's listening, it's going to be a ride for you as well. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about growing up in Manchester, in my area, and the differences between me and others, my accent, my language, my culture. I want to start off with my story and how I grew up, because I was brought up in an area with North Side Hume, sort of, and it was a very culturally diverse area, so I was exposed to many backgrounds. There were people from the Caribbean, and people from Somalia, people from Eastern Africa, so I was very used to the idea and the concept of people from all over the world and stuff, so I genuinely saw it as normal, and I didn't think of anything else of it, I just thought, there are people from different countries and, they speak different languages, different cultures and stuff. But I really wasn't aware of the concept of accents, because unless it was, really distinct and in front of me, I just never thought of it. It wasn't, important to me. That was until year 4, when I was 9, I think. And there's this one time, I was an avid book reader, and I asked this person, can I have the book after you? And I said it in a way that really it didn't annoy the person, but they had to point it out and say, you say words weird. And he pointed out and said, you don't say after, you say after, like a Londoner. And I was just it was, I don't know, it was sort of a weird experience because I had never noticed it, and now that he had pointed it out, I couldn't stop noticing it, because now I was just aware. I was just trying to change the way I was sounding after that, and I got more of that once I got into high school, because now everybody knows all about accents and languages and stuff. And in high school, people wouldn't make fun of it, but I'm not even sure anymore. Did they like the accent, or were they just making fun of it? We will never know. But they would ask me to say words that would typically sound different if you're from the south of England. And, they got me to say bath a lot, after, barnyard, anything that has a really long consonant with an A or something, R sounds and stuff. And I eventually got annoyed. I got annoyed real quick. I started purposely changing the way I said them. I wouldn't say bath, I would say bath, just to annoy them, I'd be I say it the exact same way as you. And I really shouldn't have been doing that, maybe, because it was just building up this anger of people just constantly irritating me when I wanted to do something else with my time. And since then, I've had loads of people say, are you from London? They never assume I'm from Manchester. And even if I'm talking with my normal voice, even if I'm not trying to fake it or something like that, they'll never assume that I was born here or grew up here. They'll assume that I was from London. And it's sort of weird, people's conceptions and stuff and perceptions of people who are from London. Because I'm pretty sure not all London people sound like me. But I don't know. It's just a thought, because I've never gotten that, nobody's ever thought that I was from here if I didn't personally know them. But with accents, now that I've come to realize about them, I don't really understand how I watched a lot of stuff as a kid, and I don't know how I never realized accents existed. I will go back and watch shows that I watched as a kid, and they are from different continents. How did I not know they were from Canada? There's a show I watched as a kid, and it was called Roy. It was about a cartoon kid growing up in Ireland, And I just thought they were like, I just thought it was an English show, to be honest. Now looking back on it, the accents were so like, they were in my face, like, and I'm just cringing at how I didn't realize. Because I thought, oh my god, it's an English kid. It's like, it's a normal English kid as well. I mean, as normal as you can get for like a cartoon kid. But yeah, the Irish accents really got me off guard when I rewatched it, not the other day, but like a couple months back. So my perception of the world really like it really grew when as I got older and maturer, because if you can tell, I had a very small perception of the world as a kid. I just a little corner of the world had been shown to me, and I hadn't seen it all. I still haven't, but yeah, you get my drift and stuff. So I want to move on to my language. Now, my language, I will talk about this more deeply in another episode with my friend Iman, but I have a very conflicted relationship with my language, my mother tongue. So it's always been a hard topic for me because, I didn't really speak my mother tongue, which is Swahili, I until I went on holiday, and everyone else was speaking Swahili, and I was the only one speaking English, and I was very upset. I wanted to get angry because why did nobody teach me this? And well, I started trying to openly like ask questions on what does that mean, and oh, can you say that again? Because I wanted to be a part of that, because I just felt more of an outsider, because everybody would be speaking fluently and I would just be the odd one out. And I think with all of my siblings, we had just talked English with each other. We went to school, we spoke English. We could understand what was being said to us, but we couldn't really respond. We just respond back in like English. And you have foods that are that are that have names in your language, and you know them by that. But that's pretty much it. That's all I knew them by. That's all I knew, and I was always trying to find that bridge of wanting to connect with my family and just the people I really wanted to get closer to, but I really couldn't, and I would shy away and stay quiet because I was afraid of error. Because when you do make errors, you either get not shamed for it, but like it gets embarrassing because they'd start laughing and they'd start speaking in Swahili, and I wouldn't understand what they were saying, and it would just make me cringe more. So whenever I go back to my home country, I would just be quiet, and people would be like, "Why are you so quiet? Why don't you speak more?" It's not the fact that I can't speak it, because I have learned to speak my language, but I'm just that afraid of making mistakes that I just don't speak at all. And my parents just think, "Oh, she's just really quiet," and my personality in school says otherwise, because I'm not necessarily loud, but I can make jokes. People back home would be like, "Oh, your mom's so funny. Why aren't you like that? Like, don't you have her genes and stuff?" And I do. I swear I do. But it's always that barrier of language that always gets stuck in between me trying to be like my parents and stuff. And I think that's the issue and the discomfort that most children from immigrants have, that they're not always able to connect with their parents, and because of the language barrier and stuff. So with my language and with my accent, I really had to mature, and I've had to become confident and like accept that I can't change it as much as I would like to, but I can't change it. I can only go from here. But with my language, with Swahili, I can obviously learn it, but it's just so much effort, and Duolingo is kind of annoying. So I'm going to have to just like focus and just pay attention to my family even more and try and interact with them. But yeah, that's my story, and how everyone's experience growing up in Manchester is different, because there are loads of people who do have automatic switches depending on who they're hanging around with. I certainly do. I wouldn't talk to my teacher the same way I would talk to my friends, because that's just not me, you know? Like, I'll use more slang with my friends than I will with the teachers, because it's rude to talk to your teachers like that. Also, because they don't understand half the things that's coming out of my mouth. So that's something, you know? But like, yeah, I think everyone has issues and they deal with it, or they don't. They just shove it down. I did once. But yeah, my accent it's a complex issue. I sound too Mancunian sometimes, too Londoner sometimes, if that's a word, I think. Or I don't sound the way I should, but no. And people say, "Oh, you can get more advantages in life because you have what would typically be seen as a white voice," but I don't think so. But because you can't sound like a race. You get me? I'm doing quotation marks if you didn't know. But yeah, I think people need to come to terms that this is my voice, not your voice. So if you've got a problem with my voice, I don't know, go to therapy or something. But yeah, this is my voice. I can't change it. And, well, my language, I have to learn to love it. I do love it. No, that came out wrong. I do love my language. I do love my mother tongue. I just have to grow to love the way that I speak it, because I have an accent. You can tell I'm not from there. It's really embarrassing, I kind of wish my parents did that thing where they usually send you away for at least a year, You send them away to, like, their home country, and they learn the language, and the language sticks to them at a young age. Because a lot of people that I know, they're usually Arabs. They send their kids away to either Arabic schools in the country that they're living in, or they send them back home where they teach them the language, and then they come back and they're fluent in it. But I wish I had that experience, even though I would have missed my mom really much. But yes. So I think this is enough for this episode. So I'm gonna stop right here. And I think this is a good episode. I think I finished. I think I did a good job. Well, we'll see when the editing process comes on. But yeah, this was fun. It was like talking to a diary, except I'm exposing myself to the people who are listening to it. So less more like diary, but yes, podcast. This is a podcast. But I think this is where it makes you really think, This project's really making me think about myself and the way everyone speaks, Because before as a kid, I never used to notice the way people speak, but now I notice how everyone speaks and the different ways, and I want to say constants, but dialects, yeah, the different dialects everyone has. So I am going to stop right here. So this is the end of the podcast. I think it was really good, I'm only finding my way through, so I'll grow more comfortable with like speaking out loud. But I think this was the first good episode. So yes. Thank you for listening. Bye.